Your mic is real hot.
Yeah, it's muted. It was muted though. It's not now. So good
Okay.
evening, Shuffle Bus Nation. What is up? It's your boy Jesse, back here for another Wednesday night live pod with my good friend and co-host Neil. The week before Thanksgiving host stream. Neil, how are you, man?
Pretty good.
Good.
It's been the it's been really nice here. Like,
It's been unseasonably warm here too. It was 64 here today.
yeah. I talked to my dad today and he said they were outside working in the yard because it was so nice.
Yeah, I gotta do a little bit of that tomorrow night because we're gonna get we're gone all day Saturday for a family Thanksgiving event out of town, and then we're getting cooler temps and rain on Sunday and Monday. So I got to get the rest of my leaves picked up before those temps move in and the rain moves in and makes it a real mess to clean up.
God, I can't imagine what it's like to rake leaves.
I hate it.
I just kind of forgot that was a thing.
Oh yeah. No, it sucks.
I have to like trim my palm tree in my backyard. That's kind of a pain in the
This
ass.
sounds like a first world problem. Trim.
Yeah.
I got to trim my palm tree.
Well, sometimes it brushes up against the lanai, and I don't want it to poke the screen.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it's important for sure.
Yeah.
I I don't know if I've announced it to the world or not, but we got our final house plans designed and back to us, and so we're really close to breaking ground on that project, which is kind of exciting. Although I'm not excited about breaking ground in winter over it, but as long as the temperatures stay nice, it won't be a problem. So yeah, I mean, 10 months, 11 months ish, be moving most likely, something like that. And then my internet's all getting upgraded here tomorrow, which is great.
Upgrading the internet just to leave?
Well, so it's kind of two factors. Like I have like this 4-year-old Allo router for my gig service. I have gig service up and down in my house.
Right.
And I have this like Arrow Wi-Fi mesh network system, but it's all just 5 gigahertz. And so Allo is now offering to all of their gig customers a free Wi-Fi 6 system, mesh system. So they'll come out and like site survey your house and place access points all over your house that are all on the Wi-Fi 6 mesh, which allows for you to have wireless devices still transmit at gigabit speeds, which is pretty amazing. So like my computer here is limited. It usually gets about 300, like when we're streaming, but I'll be able to drastically improve that upload, which will be nice.
Yeah. I miss Allo. I had, my neighborhood when I still lived in Lincoln was one of the very first that Allo serviced.
Yeah,
and I had that gig speed. That was good stuff.
it is good stuff. Yeah. So
here I just have this like crappy Spectrum and have to deal with that garbage.
Yeah, yeah.
They are.
I do not
a terrible company.
I do not miss not having Spectrum. That's who I had before my Allo service. And my neighborhood was like one of the last neighborhoods to get Allo, so I was like waiting and waiting and waiting, just like it was excruciating just knowing that like everybody around me. And at one point my neighborhood was 1 block off of like an expansion. So I was like, it's literally a block away, guys. Finish it. Bring it here. But they didn't do it. It took them like another year. But yeah. So I'm excited about that. Obviously, you're going to be gone next week. Thanksgiving plans. So
yep.
Chat. What I'll do is I'll probably just put out LFGs to play Solforge live next week on stream. If it's somebody that has the app, I'll be happy to host the app and showcase the app for those games. If it's not, then I'll play on Tabletop Simulator. So, we'll figure that out as we go. I'm looking after SBI. I'm not going to lie. I've been looking at a lot of Uranti Elementalist decks. What's up, Mike? Godjus in the house. What's going on, brother? I was really impressed with that card. And
card's great.
And
I mean, it is really, really good.
So I've been looking at my Uranti Elementalist decks and like trying to figure out, do I have a good red half and then how to pair it? I don't know if the deck really needs like a deep spell pool. Like I think 6 spells is probably sufficient with it, right? Because it's
Elementalist is a card that like is good by itself. And well, I mean, not literally by itself, but while it excels in the spells matter archetype, it doesn't require the spells matter archetype to be good.
that's
Like
kind of what I felt like when I was like looking through
you
my
have to
collection.
have you have to have a number of spells, right? Like it's not literally good in a vacuum, but as long as you have some, it is a very good card.
Yeah, yeah, and I've been looking at that, and then I've also been looking at my Shardback decks. I just think Shardback has been not necessarily super hardcore explored up to this point.
The problem with Shardback is that because it's so rare, uh, I'm not sure everybody has like found the best Shardback halves
Oh, I agree with that
that
for sure.
exist.
But maybe I'm holding it. You never know. You know, like I know it's not a. I don't have the Furious. What's up, Onk? Onk going to be on the show here in about 10 minutes or so, roughly. We'll have him jump into a Discord call with us. Probably won't be able to get your video up, Onk. I did not get that done today. I was hoping to. So we'll just have you on audio tonight. We'll have you on the line, like old school radio show. We got Ben Thrama on gaming on the line with us tonight. He's going to reveal all of his secrets on how to become an SBI champion and talk a little bit about his deck, which I think was really cool. And obviously, it's a Life Matters deck, green purple Life Matters deck, but it had some really cool things going on with it. Mike says Shardback with Nargoth is nuts. Yeah, I could see Shardback with Nargoth being very nuts for sure. Shardback Nargoth is also another card that came out of SBI that I feel like I slept on it a little bit too much. And I have a bunch of Nargoth Thundersword decks, so I'm very interested in seeing how some of those decks look.
Nargath Commander is like maybe the best self damage enabler. Uh,
Oh, I
the
can't reveal all your secrets yet, brother. You gotta wait.
um, I'm trying to think of maybe Mongosaur's better, but like it's close.
I think Mongosaur's worse, personally, because
Right. They're like kind of like
so
outside
Mongosaur,
of the self damage theme, they kind of serve different purposes in the deck as a
right?
card because Mongosaur's like a removal spell and Nargath Commander is like a value engine.
Yeah.
Um,
The issue I have with Mongosaur, um, Mongosaur or who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of Thunderstomper. I'm sorry. Remind me of
oh,
Mongosaur.
Thunder Stomper is essentially a worse version of Nargath.
Yeah,
I mean, it again. There are cases where uh, Thunder Stomper is better, but I think in general Nargath is usually better. You obviously have the potential to get more stats out of Nargath because it hits 2 creatures instead of obviously just the one um, on Thunderstomper.
yeah.
But
Mongosaur is deal 5 to one of your creatures, deal 5 to an enemy creature. Right. Yeah. So Thunderstomper and Mongosaur are they're similar, but obviously I do think that Mongosaur is better than Thunderstomper in a vacuum. But
right, I think Mongosaur is a better card in general than Nargath is, but Nargath I think is better for the self damage theme decks. Another consideration would be Blizzard Shaman, I guess,
I
as like
really, yeah, I like Blizzard Shaman a ton. I've played a bunch of Blizzard Shaman. The
yeah. I'm
thing,
just trying to think of cards that like fill that similar role that you can you would think would be good. I don't know. I mean, my favorite payoff, like obviously we're talking about Shardback being the payoff. But my favorite payoff is Undeady. I just love that
oh, I
card. I
hear
know
you.
it's not as good as Shardback or um Thundersoar, but it is good and like it does some wacky stuff.
So Nargath
If
costs you 1 stat point at level 1 compared to Thunderstomper, but nets you more. It nets you 3 more stat points at level 3 if you play the level 3 Nargath. So The level 3 Nargath is stronger than the Thunder Stomper, but they are very similar cards. So it's interesting that since they're both common and they're both not fuses, that they have different stat lines for the same ability.
Well, it's not the same ability.
Oh yeah, it's because it's creatures adjacent. Right, right.
Right. Nargath pumps the creatures it damages, and Thunder Stomper pumps the Thunder
Any
Stomper.
creature. Yep. It'll hit any creature.
Right, but only the Thunder Stomper gains power. Like
Yeah,
the Nargath gives power to your
that's true.
adjacents, the
That's
ones that
true.
it damages. The Thunder Stomper pumps itself.
Yeah, and Stampede Mangasaur, God just makes a good point. It is not a May, so when you do it, you have to do it. Whether it's
Yeah,
even
I
doing
mean
this
that card needs a
yourself.
downside. Like the card is very very good. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. No, I'm not taking anything away from it. I just so like this particular archetype, and looking at Thundersaur in particular here is not new, right? This is kind of an older archetype. Obviously, if you care
Right,
about
of course not. Yeah,
Dinosaur Matters, right? Like Thunderstomper and Mangasaur are both dinosaurs.
and so
So
is Thundersaur.
right. So like if you could get all three of those in one deck, you probably have a pretty good value engine for your Thundersaur that's pretty reliable and pretty consistent. The thing I like about Nargath is that when you Nargath a Thunderstomper or a Thundersaur, you only deal 2 damage to the Thundersaur to get +4. That's really good. And
Right,
Funk is adding.
Thundersaur is probably the best payoff of all payoffs.
Well, I mean, Mike
I
is
mean
adding.
maybe Shardback is
Yeah,
better. I'm not
I think
sure.
Shardback's probably up there too for sure. But I mean, obviously, like in this magical Christmas land where we get Mangasaur, Thunderstomper, Thundersaur, and a Shardback, like you're probably just like
Are all those cards in set two? Because obviously
they are.
Shardback is only in set two.
Thunderstomper is not. Thunderstomper is not available in set 2. So you'd have to have a
Okay.
Betrayer Thunderstomper to get the Shardback and the Thunderstomper going.
Right. So if in quote magical Christmas land, you would not choose Thunderstomper as your betrayer. You would choose one of the other cards we've talked about.
Well, the other ones are available in set 2, all of them.
Right, but you would just double up on one of the good ones if you got to choose your betrayer.
Right.
Like is what I'm saying.
Right.
Because Thunderstomper I think is very good, and well, I with the caveat that we're talking about the this particular archetype. Like I don't know that Thunderstomper is generically good in any deck. It's okay.
Yeah.
Uh but the in the deck, like I think you would just pick like second Thundersaur or second Shardback or whatever as your betrayer rather than like trying to get a set one deck
Right.
betrayer.
No, I agree. So I just was really impressed with Joel's deck. I know it didn't get there, and we're gonna
Well,
bring Ben
it
on.
did pretty well.
Right. We're gonna bring Ben on, who had an Echo Pup deck, right? Like, but obviously his core engine of that deck was really built on Free Stuff Matters, and
Right. It was just like life gain free stuff that happened to have an Echo Pup in it.
right,
Right. Like
yeah, exactly. It was just a really solid life gain deck with a Carnivorous Terror, which is essentially Kindred in set 2. So to put all those pieces together, I think it was a really solid offering from Ben. So let's not take any more time. Let's jump into a Discord call with Ben, and then let's start talking to him a little bit about what it takes to become an SBI champion. So let me get this all set up over here, because we're always prepared for these kinds of things. I'm in game 1, Neil. All right, and then you'll probably just want to mute Zoom or whatever.
I did. You got me in Discord?
Yep, I got you in Discord. What's going on, Ben? How are you, man?
How's it going? Let me turn off the stream so I'm not echoing.
Sounds good. How are you feeling? I understand you went on to win an SBI from watching your coverage today with a little bit of a cold. So hopefully you're recovered and on the mend.
Yeah, I was coming off of a cold. I was like on the tail end that day. Still had a
Okay.
little bit of sore throat, but yeah.
Well, you just need to get more
Kids.
sore throats because you can win big events that way.
Yeah, operating on little sleep.
That's right. That's right. So the deck that you ran, let's talk about that deck a little bit. You
Sure.
you covered it on your stream today, so I do recommend anybody that wants to like go through it like card by card, go out and check out Onk Gaming on YouTube. We'll put a link in the chat here. I'm going to pull it up right now, and then um, watch Ben's coverage of it because he does a nice job of explaining the deck. But maybe just give us like a TLDR on why you chose this deck and like leading up to the event, like what were some things that made you decide this was the deck you wanted to bring over maybe some other stuff you've been working on.
Yeah. So mostly my playstyle. I prefer to play games that have a stronger late game. I'm not a big aggressive player. And I really feel good when I can play more than 2 cards in a turn. um, Really, that's kind of the key to it. I find that when I'm only playing, I feel like when I can only play 2 cards in a turn, I'm feeling like I'm just not getting a lot of value. It feels kind of like you're punching underwater, right? Like you can't do a lot of movement that way. So I like decks that can have the potential to play multiple cards in a turn and also have ways of catching back up when you miss something. So things that have a little bit of upgrade, or things that can like churn through cards with. So like for example, Discient Siphon, it's not really giving you any sort of card advantage per se. You're actually like kind of going down
Mm-hmm.
a card or down an action with it, but you're getting multiple silver or gold cards out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're actually setting up for later in the game that your cycle 1 may be a little slower, but your cycle 2 and cycle 3 are going to have some real heavy hitters by then. And the hope is that since you're going to have a lot of level 2 and level 3 things against another player who's only playing 2 cards a turn, and sometimes they're just not going to draw their silver cards, or their silver cards that they are drawing aren't going to be useful on that turn. So you're kind of always a little bit punched. You're just at a higher level by
Mm-hmm.
then.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I like it. It helps you kind of stay ahead or catch up if you ever fall behind. And I found that the Disney and I guess the Utera and Necrium is the strongest at doing that just because of sort of the alpha and Balfour Ranking Pass, sort of those life gain synergies that are available. Like you lost some of them, but the key one, like Swamp Moss Lurker, is one of the biggest free plays that you can do with a life gain synergy.
So Monster sure it's broken. Like that card
Yeah,
is
and just the
very
fact
good.
that it provides board presence is huge. It's
Yeah, that
not like a weak body, right? It's not like the Zeraswell where it's like a 3/3, right?
Right. I mean,
It's a
even Echo
beater.
Wolves give you those bodies as well, right?
Yeah,
But I would argue, like looking at your deck, that obviously you're not trying to turn on life gain inside of the green side so much. You have access to it with Botanimate,
yeah.
and
Well,
you got a little bit on Tarot itself, right? Like obviously that's there, but you've really got the double Shambler and the Discient Siphon and the Zrath Will. Well, the Zrath Will cares about life gain; it doesn't provide it. So you really are looking at the double Shamblers and the Discient Siphon. Talk a little about your tournament. Was that consistent enough having those sort of 2 bodies? Obviously, double Shambler. We know how good double and triple Shambler decks can be in general, and then Discient Siphon being sort of the last access point. You really have about 4 cards in total outside of the tarot itself to really, um, you know, make things go up, right? Make your life go up. So talk a little bit about just consistency on that. Was that enough for you? Did you wish you
well.
had more?
So there's 7 life gain cards in the package. There's the Vampiric Necromancer is
Oh yeah,
a
yeah.
very
I
key
forgot about
player
that as
there.
well. Sure, absolutely.
Um, so if you want to go back to the history of this deck, it starts at the collection manager and me just sort of dorking around looking at different stats. And I went to the free column one day, and this Necreum deck has 6 free cards, or 6 cards that trigger the free clause. So Dissonant Siphon, Necrovives, Wrathwolf, Vampiric Necromancer, and Ghoulish Demon and Spite Maiden. So, Ghoulish Demon and Necromancer don't have a free play till later.
Right.
But Necrovive is conditionally free, as is Thras Will, and Dissonant Siphon is just like I said before, it's like a churning card for free.
Right.
So what I looked to do was to see, well, how many more free things can I do? So I played around with this purple half a lot, trying to find a pairing that would work well. One of the weaknesses of this purple half is that it doesn't really have removal. It's got Necrovive. So when I wanted to find a good pairing for this, I was specifically seeking out a deck that had at least 1 or 2 removal pieces, especially ones that were good at dealing with Rumblespark, because Rumblespark was, one of the considerations going into the tournament. So the fact that it had Botanimate and the Combat Polymorpher as options was one of the reasons that this one stood out to me. But also, I was looking at the free aspect. So the Feral Instinct and the Swamp Moss Lurker were also what I was trying to do. So basically, this deck in combination has 8 free plays, give or take,
right,
depending on how you look at it, which is 40% of the deck.
Right.
So that's kind of what I was looking at when I was trying to build the core of it. Like, I tried this purple deck with Tempe's a bit, trying to do like a spell synergy thing. And spell free plays, but I wasn't finding that to be consistent enough. And I didn't really have good finishers. And the Utera half has really good finishers. It has the Swamp Moss Lurker and it has the Carnivorous Taro.
Okay.
And the fact that it has the Feral Instinct to push through the breakthrough has been very kind of like the way, sort of the axis that it tries to end the game if it can't do it with the Shambler. So it has like the thing about it is it's consistent, but it has multiple avenues to victory. I could either go really tall with a big Carnivorous Taro or big Swamp Moss Lurker and punch through with a Feral Instinct. I can go wide and throw out a bunch of bodies for Shambling Drake and Forsaken Shambler to whittle away the opponent. It has some good Cycle 1 cards that keep me from getting too far behind. Like you mentioned with the Echo Wolves, you get the 2 pups so you can fill up multiple lanes for blocking or for fodder for the Dissonant Siphon. And that's actually a pretty big key, because one of the worst things to happen is if you have a Dissonant Siphon in hand is to play a creature, they nuke it, and now you can't play your Dissonant Siphon.
Right.
And so Dissonant Siphon becomes a dead card for the rest of the game, almost, because you can't... You don't really want to be sacking things to play level 1 cards in Cycle 2. So you really want to get leveled in Cycle 1 if you can. The Ardent Raptor, the Combat Polymorpher, the Gloom Reaper Hag, and the Ghoulish Demon, as well as sometimes the Necrotic Spirit, they have a decent attack stat. So it helps me to kind of control the board in the first cycle to take out my opponents in like sort of 1-for-1 plays, but still getting a little bit of incremental advantage. If that makes sense. Or it also gives me the opportunity to go aggressive if I need to.
Yep.
So if I'm trying to beat down, I can put those into open lanes and force my opponent to deal with them, because you can't really just take 6 or 7 damage a turn for very long.
No.
I'd say kind of the weakest cards of the deck are probably the Bartok, the Glowhive Nursery. Twin Strength is not always that great, but this deck is really good at filling up the board. So Twin Strength is a really nice way to like keep that advantage when you don't really have a creature, like room for a creature.
It can help you also punch in open lanes, right? As your second card play off Forge. Yeah, I mean, depending on what your opponent is calling out. I've found Twin Strength to just be a good flex card in decks.
Absolutely.
It's not necessarily the greatest card in the world, but it's a solid second card play in some situations, and it can also be used to force an opponent on a first card play into blocking, a particular creature maybe, or whatever they're most worried about. So yeah. I mean, I've found Twin Strength to be a good all around card, not a great card, but it's still very valuable.
An opportunistic card, right? It's like when the opportunity presents itself, it's good. Like if you're off Forge and their opponent thinks that they're about to like trade creatures, and suddenly your creatures are sticking around for another turn, that because you're catching them with the Twin Strength, that's a big tempo.
Right.
That's a huge tempo swing.
Yep.
So there's a lot, and there's like some targets that I want to keep on the board longer, right? So Feral Instinct is usually the way I do that, right?
Yeah.
Because it gives the armor buff as well, and
Right.
it works really well with the shambling creatures.
And Feral Instinct's just amazing.
Yeah, it's a really important part of this deck. And again, it was one of those things that it enables more free plays, which is what I like to do. But it also it's not like Energy Surge or Decian Siphon, where it's like a play for the sake of play. It also like functions as a win condition.
Sure.
Because it pushes through that huge body that your opponent thought they could chump block.
Absolutely.
So
and you do a little bit more of that with the Circe. You play the Circe in this deck, so you run Life Drain, Soul Siphon, and Death Touch. All of these have added value.
Yeah,
especially if you can make those wide board states like you were talking about. So
absolutely,
pretty cool.
Yeah, and the thing too is like after playing this deck enough, I've had I have a much greater respect for Soul Siphon than I used to. Even more than like I think this is the perfect Cersei. I don't even think I would want Army Commander really, unless it was like Army Commander at 4 maybe, because it still lets you play it for free. But I don't need Army Commander 3 because I'm already upgrading stuff, right? Like it doesn't really help me. It doesn't give me like an action's worth of value. But the Soul Siphon can really like push something through, or I've had so many games where I've played level 3 for Vampiric Necromancer, instantly Soul Siphon something onto it, and now they can't deal with it because it's got like 13 or 15 toughness.
Right. Yeah.
So
I dig that a lot. I mean, there are just lots of really powerful creatures in Solforge that plus aiding them to keep them around. I mean, I'm thinking things like even Dark Heart Sorcerers or Drix, for example, over on Aloyan's side. Like, I mean, a 8+8 Drix in cycle 3, it's hard. It's hard to deal with that Drix now, right? Like it's a problem body that's doing lots of things that enable all kinds of power synergy. So something like Necromancer is a perfect example of a great target. Shamblers is another great target for that, right? To help keep them around, especially level 3 Shambler. Getting Soul Siphon has a lot of value for that Shambler to stick around and continue to trigger many, many times for you. So
yeah, at that juncture, I don't like Soul Siphon except in cycle 4, but in cycle 4, there's so many game states where like you have a dude that's a throwaway dude because it doesn't get through and the game's gonna end, and like you have a dude that is gonna get through, so you get to upgrade the dude that gets through and throw away the throwaway guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
It feels like in cycle 4 there's just many board states like that.
Yeah, it does have a lot of applications in this particular deck. It can help me go down a creature. Like I think you see this in my video, but it'll help me go down a creature to play Necrovive for free. It'll trigger. Sick. I can like sack a Gloom Reaper Hag to trigger a Zerath's Will. Like there's all kinds of like micro synergies that I can do with it. So, and like I said, like I think in the final game that was on stream, I was able to sack that Gloom Reaper Hag and like make a massive wisp that said, "Hey, you got to deal with this now," right? And Joel had to basically throw everything at it to just to survive, or else he would have basically taken lethal.
Right.
Otherwise, so especially when you put on something that's going to punch through, it really forces your opponent to find an answer, right? Because you can do it as your second action, and once they've already blocked something, like you can just sack the thing that was blocked, and now you've got this other threat that they have to either block or take a bunch of damage. So
yeah. Cardboard Newt chimed in a little while ago, but I didn't want to interrupt you. It says I have Feral Instinct trauma now, so
yeah, sorry about that.
Feral Instinct is a really good card. Like it's a really, really good card. Because it's like a spell that only costs like half a card, right? Because you get the wisp back on the back end of this thing. You generally
at higher levels it actually is 2 card. Like it plays a card for free.
I'm just talking at its fundamental floor. Its fundamental floor is a half a card, right? Like if you just
1.5.
Yeah. So, but I agree with you. It can easily be a 2-for-1 card as well, which is pretty incredible. And there's so few of those in Solforge.
Yeah, and one thing I can say about Feral Instinct. And sort of you're starting to see this in their design philosophy in like set 2 and set 3, is that it's not level gated in terms of what you can play it on.
Right.
Like if you look at something like Shadow Strength or trying to think that new card that like doubles a creature's attack, like you can only do it on certain level creatures.
Right.
So like if I miss Feral Instinct for the first 2 cycles, I can still throw it on like a 40 power Swamp Moss Lurker at level 1, and it doesn't matter, right? That breakthrough damage is going to hit.
Right.
I don't have to focus on upgrading it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always there as a way to punch through if you need to. So
yeah, I mean, I have watched this card. I've had it played against me many times. I think in my entire collection, I have one Feral Instinct. It's not in a particularly strong deck, so it is a punishing card to play against, because it's one of those cards where, like you said, Neil, you end up seeing it played on the threat that you thought you had handled, in whether that be through combat or through a damage spell or whatever it may be, and that 3 armor just makes it unmitigatable for this round. It makes it very difficult to do it.
It is interesting, I think, what you brought up there, Ben, about how they're designing cards now that like the good effect is level gated. So like one of the previews we did for set 3 was the energy exalt that gives breakthrough, but it gives plus attack, but it only gives breakthrough if it's on curve.
right.
And like even just the idea that they don't think that's fair anymore just shows that Feral is. And I mean, credit to Charge Play Podcast. In one of their very first episodes, like I remember when I was starting up Charge Play Podcast, they were talking about Feral Instinct specifically as one of the very best green cards.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think it's very flexible and very strong. And it's one of those things that just the way the game plays out, it can really take you off guard, or like just the threat that your opponent has that can make you play suboptimally, right? So if you're really thinking about it, so
Ben,
yeah,
let's talk about your Swiss rounds.
Sure.
I know we've talked about the deck for quite a bit now, and obviously I don't want to take away from your coverage on the deck either, because I want people to go watch your coverage, and they should go watch your coverage. You didn't have the cleanest Swiss to get there, right? Like
I did not.
You did get the first round bye,
yes,
because of this deck being silver coming into the event. And then you went, essentially, if you factor the bye away, you went and 1-2, right, in the Swiss. So final record Swiss was 2-2, made a bubble cut on strength of schedule, and eked out Cardboard Newt, who's in chat with us tonight here, to make that top 8 cut. But then you just went on a tear. So talk a little bit about, I mean, obviously I know one of those losses, we watched it on stream, was against Eli, and he got infinite on you on, I think, turn 2 of cycle 2, which pretty much makes very difficult for a deck that wants to go long to win that game, right?
Honestly, it makes it very difficult for any deck to win.
Agreed.
Right.
I
yeah.
agree. Yeah. So the other win and loss are probably a little bit more interesting because we didn't get to watch those on stream. So talk to me about what was your round 3 and round 4 opponents. What did you run into, and what were problematic for you? What was maybe something you feel you were favored with? Obviously, it sounds like you really had a good plan for the Rumbleheart decks, which we knew would potentially be in this meta. So tell me, like, what were the other things that you were like kind of struggled with or didn't struggle with in the day?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there was the round 2 against Eli. I just didn't draw the right aggressive cards to pressure his life total, fast enough. In terms of, I think round 3 was against Cardboard Newt. I got that was, to be very fair, that was a one of those games where I rolled really high and he rolled really low. It just, the game, skill level aside, the game just wasn't close because of how the cards kind of turned up. I feel like, I can't remember. I think my first round, I may have played like 3 or 4 cards on the first turn.
Wow.
I'll have to look back at the footage. That could have been a different game, but essentially, he was at 37 on the first turn. So that's kind of how that game went, and he just never drew into his Rumble Spark, which is what his deck wants to do.
Yeah.
So I was able to apply a lot of pressure, and the fact that really he can only do 2 plays a turn, I could do multiple plays a turn, and I can go wide and put pressure down. He just wasn't able to recover from that start.
Sure. Sam's saying 4 cards, so he definitely remembers.
Yeah,
it's ingrained in his head.
Yeah, I feel like it was like Carnivorous Taro into Zraspel, Discian Siphon, Feral Instinct. I think that's what happened.
That's what he just said. Yep, he literally just put it into chat.
Yeah.
So yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's So then let's obviously, like, high rolls aside, then, like, what are the trauma memory is what Newt is saying here.
Yeah.
What's the 4th round? What'd you run into in the 4th round?
So 4th round was against Gorman. He was running a Tempest Necreon spell slinging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a very strong, very aggressive, could dish out a ton of damage. And that one was just a matter of not being able to stabilize soon enough.
Right.
And him just doing too much damage to me, and having just enough removal to punch through. I think there was a number of times where he was just able to play extra minions to go wide, and I wasn't really drawing my go wide stuff.
Sure.
So, I mean, it was a hard-fought game. I feel like it didn't end until cycle 3, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe it was, like, late cycle 2. But, I just think it's kind of how it ran out. I don't know who would have been favored in that match. I think the decks were pretty evenly matched. It's just a matter of... And we're both good players. So I think it could have gone either way, really.
Yeah.
No,
we
but ultimately was
a couple of times on stream. It had some pretty nutty plays for sure, and did some really wild things. So yeah, it's impressive that you did win that round, or did like, obviously that you lost that round, but like were able to come back in. Did you have to face off against him in the semifinals? I don't.
No, I didn't face off against anybody I had played previously.
Oh, okay. Well, that's always nice too.
That's so nice, I got a clean thing.
Value.
Yeah, and one thing that, like, I think some people kind of lose sight of when we talk about tournaments and game win percentage and all that stuff, like, in most card games, having like a 55% to 60% win rate is considered really good. Right. So, like, you're talking about like very small margins of who, like, what's more likely to win.
Right.
So given that Solforge is kind of a best of one game, it can be a little coin flippy at times. So, I kind of got my bad luck out in the Swiss rounds, I guess. Like, I got my...
the deck came online right when you needed it to come online and get you through, right? So, obviously that's also just a testament to good play. And
yeah, I mean, they're definitely very hard fought battles. My game against Weekend, if you watch the replay, like, the final life totals are crazy.
Yeah.
And again, I dodged the Rumble Spark from him. I mean, we play a lot. We play test a lot together, so nice. we know each other's decks and we know how they function. And he kind of knew, and the way he was playing it, he knew that if it got to cycle 3, that my deck would just overwhelm his. So he was playing very, very aggressively and pushing a lot of damage. And so, my never was in a position where I could play Swamp Moss because I was always like under 30 life and that kind of stuff. And it really just became like a slugfest at the end of that particular game, with who could just push the most damage. And I was able to just barely eke it out to get the math in my favor on the final turn. So that was a really good game. Trying to remember what my semifinal was. I think that was against Alex. And he had another really good spell slinging deck. And again, it was another one of those games where a lot of damage was being dealt, a lot of there's a lot of life drain going on, and it was a bit of a slugfest. And I think there was a point where I just kind of stabilized and was able to pull out sort of a out of nowhere win with the Feral Instinct on a very large spirit that had been kind of growing over time. And he had like a lot of removal, so I kind of prioritized the spirit because it leaves behind a body. So and it has a high attack stat, so I want to kind of pressure him because I knew that his deck was going to be doing a lot of damage and trying to pressure my life total. So I kind of wanted to pressure back and not try and slow roll things.
Sure.
So that ended up working out in the end.
That's awesome.
And then there was the match against Joel, which you guys got to commentate on and watch, so you kind of know how that one went.
Yep. No, the match with Joel was very interesting and really exciting to watch, obviously. So, I mean, I would recommend anybody that didn't catch the coverage live, go back, watch that finals match between Ankh and Joel. It was a lot of fun. It was one of the more fun games that we covered on the day, in my opinion. So it was super cool to watch, and you guys really did put on a show and a clinic on how Solforge works. So, you know, I think we've seen your archetype exist, right? Like we saw that archetype sort of exist. We've seen players like Purple Christie bring it to competitive events, and we saw a version that is kind of similar from Nathis at Worlds, where life gain was happening in Necromancer shenanigans, and obviously Nathis going for that Krogius finish in that deck versus you having no Krogius present here today, but just relying on instead big solid threats across the board. We saw Joel's deck have a ton of really big health creatures across the board as well, which served him well throughout most of the tournament to maintain board tempo. So I do think that there is something here with these large creatures. And obviously I do think if you have access to all the life gain like you had in this deck, combined with all the free card plays, like that's even better, because you're going to need that quality density later on in the tournament, especially when, you know, if you think about it, you want to play as many cycle 3 cards in cycle 3 as you can, and as many cycle 2 cards in cycle 2 as you can, and then you want some of that to be there and available to you in the event the game goes to cycle 4, right? So if you're making decisions between 2 cycle 3 cards in cycle 3, you're probably in a pretty good place, knowing that you still have other cycle 3 cards to draw, right? So, you know, we saw that upgrade quality component in both the weekends and Nathis's deck in the Worlds, and here we see it again in another big tournament format, strong tournament format, showing how important that sort of upgrade density really can be. And it's really hard to put a finger on how that's supposed to work. So do you have any theories on that? I mean, anything like that says, you know, I think if you want to try to do these quality matters style decks, you need to have X number of cards that really synergize into that free card play to give you upgrades over your opponent. Talk to me a little bit about what your sort of decision points are. Obviously, you talked about how you got to this through the collection manager and just looking at the number of free cards you had available. But what do you think is do you think there's a critical mass of this where you want to have it, and then a point where maybe it starts to have diminishing returns, or it's just sort of your theory? Obviously, there's no way for us to like explicitly state this or define it explicitly, but I do think that obviously top players sharing their thoughts on their theory behind it is important for other players to consider when they're looking at their own collection managers.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that 7 to 8 is the sweet spot for any sort of thing where you need a specific synergy. So in this case, my deck, I think I had said there was 7 life gain triggers. So, you know, a small blast lurker is not very good if you only have 2 life gain triggers in the deck, right?
Right.
But it's phenomenal when you have 7 or 8. So, like, you need to have ways to trigger what you're trying to do.
Sure.
And you know, whether that be like a specific creature type, or, you know, like if you're trying to do a dino synergy, you probably need like 7 or 8 dinos at the very minimum to make your dino payoffs work. Spell slinging is a little bit of a different beast. I think you really need more like 8 to 9 in a spell slinging deck, just the way things work out, because generally the spell slinging, and you need ones that like generate minions in spell slinging decks that I've
Absolutely.
found.
Yeah.
Because you need also board presence. You can't just rely on like nuking creatures in those decks.
Right.
But I think that's kind of like the sweet spot in terms of like the way this deck functions. It's closer to like 10. I call them like 10 upgrading cards because there's the 8. Well, I guess not 10's not right. I guess it's more like 8. So it's got the 6 things that can be free, or enable a free thing, and then there's the necromancer and the demon that upgrade to make something, a higher level than it otherwise would be. And what you're doing there, like I said, is you're increasing the density of silver and gold cards later in the game. And I think the more everybody who's played Solforge, like you've had those turns in the second cycle where you have all level 1 cards in your hand. You're like, well, now what do I do? Because not only are they level 1 cards, they're also cards that they probably didn't prioritize to play in the previous cycle, so they probably aren't the best level 1 cards either. So that's kind of what you need to look at if you're going to go for an upgrade synergy or like an increased leveling deck. I guess you could maybe like call it like a ramp deck. I guess that's like the closest thing you can compare it to in like something like Magic, where you're ramping your deck for later on. So you need like probably like 6 or 7 ways to upgrade or play free cards to make that work. Is what I would probably say, and they need to be cards that actually affect the board.
Sure.
In a meaningful way. Because like I said, energy surge, just making a gizmo and upgrading a card is not as great as like something like a Swamp Moss Lurker that's just free because you played another card. Like you're upgrading the Swamp Moss Lurker, and you also get the card that you played for your actual action, right? So, that's kind of what you have to look at. And upgrading for the sake of upgrading is not enough. You have to have a plan with what you're trying to upgrade and what those cards are doing for you later in the game.
Yeah. No doubt.
So,
no doubt.
And I think that Necrium just has a bit of an advantage over Aloyan in terms of upgrading, because you're able to upgrade things that you missed versus things that you have in hand now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of the Necrium theme that goes with upgrading ends up being free cards in level 3.
Yeah, exactly. And not all of the ones in Aloyan give you a free thing. You just get to keep the card in hand a lot of the time, but it doesn't give you that free action. So I think Necrium is definitely the stronger at it. And so you need something that you need payoffs to upgrade towards. And even if something like simple, like it doesn't have to be a Krogius. A very common play pattern with this deck is just to skip Echo Wolves and just upgrade it, so that I know in cycles 2 or 3, like I might just have a turn where I just dump 4 bodies onto the board, right? Mm-hmm. Even if I've never played the Echo Wolves previously, because I get to reanimate all those ones that have been previously upgraded.
Right.
So, and things like Ghoulish Demon, like, yeah, it's not a big body, but a free 9/8 is still good, right? At cycle 3, you get to play a free level 3 card off of it, so it's effectively just a free giant dude. It's not big for cycle 3, but it's still board presence, and it's something your opponent has to deal with. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I look for. In terms of
that's good information for sure, and definitely will help other players maybe catching this later that or maybe just getting into Solforge, help to analyze and look at their collection and maybe try to go down this path of trying to mirror your deck as best as possible, or some of that, because I do think there is some value for new players in particular, net decking as much as you can. You can't net deck in this game legitimately since every deck is unique, but if you can find those 3 or 4, or in this case we're saying 7 to 8 synergistic cards together between the 2 halves or whatnot, then you might actually be able to see your plan play out in front of you and see if it actually works in a competitive setting.
Right. And to tag along on that is that you just really have to play your deck a lot. To really know
Yeah.
what's, especially in an upgrade deck or a deck that wants to do free plays, you have to know which cards to not prioritize because you know you can upgrade them later.
Mm-hmm.
Or the cards that are going to be situationally good later on that, like Glowhive Nursery is not a card I play very often.
Right.
It's really more of an opportunistic play, but there are going to be matchups where it is good. I mean, the only minion cards I have are the Nursery and the Zeraspol, really. I mean, Necrotic Spirit is kind of a minion card, so the Nurseries don't get a lot of mileage, but sometimes they can do work, right? Same with Twin Strength, is like you need to know when is it important to play it and versus just to kind of like maybe upgrade it for later. And so like the more I played the deck, like I'd try them and then like I'd realize you don't really need this card. So you start playing it less and less because you just know how the deck starts to tick. And I've started playing the Bartok more often because it does do some more work than I used to think it does. Getting that extra 2/2 on something like the Shambling Drake or the Forsaken Shambler just to make it more survivable can be critical at the right time, especially given how big of a buff it gives at level 3, the Bartok that is. And just kind of knowing, like some of the cards are obvious plays. It's the ones that aren't as obvious that you need to play your deck enough to know what situations they're going to be good in and when the correct time to play them is. Necrovi's a good like sort of case study in that of like when is it appropriate to play it even at the first level? Like, can you afford to skip it? Is this going to be a match where you're most likely going to be the one that has the most cards on board, or is your opponent going to be the one that's going wide? Right. So that's just sort of one of those things you can't really figure that out on paper. You have to play the deck to figure it out.
Right. Absolutely. No doubt about that. And honestly, like many Soulforge decks are that way for sure, but I think these upgrade decks are even more so. There's just
I
more
think that's
requirements.
like a very eloquent way of like describing the next level up of your game of Soulforge is like understanding what the composition of your deck looks like after you've made suboptimal plays. Because like it's very easy for you to figure out like what your deck does when it's playing all the cards that are good and you want to play. Like, is it most of the games you play are that way? You don't get as many reps in like the suboptimal version or in a
Mm-hmm.
version that like maybe it's not suboptimal the right word, but like in a game where you decide to make a different play line than normal and you have some cards in your deck upgraded that you normally don't, like what the composition of your deck looks like after you make those decisions. Because a lot of times in every game, honestly, you go a little bit on autopilot, you just like assume what the end game's gonna look like.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've not upgraded key cards or upgraded some of your middle end cards, it certainly may not look that way.
Right. And also like, just experimenting too, like I used to have absolutely no respect for Gloom Reaper Hag, but I have a lot more respect for it now after playing this deck a lot.
It's a
It's just
really good underdrop.
it's a really good underdrop. It's really good to keep you stable in the first deck cycle. It has just the right breakpoint of health to usually catch a lot of those creatures that are like 4/6s and 4/7s. It triggers life gain synergies. It's like a mini shamble that like it against a deck that doesn't have any life gain, it's going to whittle them away, right? Like that 3 drain makes a big difference. And yeah, it doesn't level up that great, but if it still is at the minimum. If you play it 3 times, it's an 18-point life swing. Even if and
The
usually you're
second deck
trading a card
cycle is
guard.
very serviceable. The level 2
Yeah,
version, the level 3 version is a suboptimal, but if it's super dense, right? If like all your other level 3 cards are really dense,
yeah.
it might be okay still.
Yeah, I mean, it's again, that's one of those things where it like actually depends on the deck, right?
Right.
Like it performs much better in this deck than it would in a lot of other decks that don't care about life gain,
Right.
or don't care about doing incidental damage. So, or doesn't care about like already has other big things to play in the first cycle or really good underdrops. Like this one has a couple things that it needs ways of not falling behind because I need to keep my life total up for swamp moss, etc. That kind of
Right.
stuff. Like
Right.
things that seem bad on paper can be really good in the right deck. And you can't figure that out unless you try it, and don't use preconceived notions of how good a card is until just based on other experiences with different decks, because sometimes it's just really good in the deck that happened to show up in.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So, Neil, do you have any other questions for Ben tonight about this? Obviously, first off, huge congratulations on winning SBI. I mean, it's this is a year-long process to get to SBI. So, it takes placing well at a qualifier event, and then it takes obviously doing well in the event itself. The SBI is always a smaller event, but it's always packed to the gills with high quality competition, right? Every player is a world-class player in the SBI. In fact, I would venture to guess almost everybody in this, except for maybe Joel and Brandon, my locals, who didn't make Gen Con, played at Worlds. So, I think there's something to be said for that, and obviously that brings the ability to bring it all home and win it to a higher level. So I just want to give you a huge shout out on stream for that, and it's super important that people know that this is an accomplishment for sure.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm glad that I got to participate. I had blocked it off on my calendar and told the wife that this is the Saturday that I need. I need the day.
We appreciate that a lot.
Yeah.
There are
obviously
choices people can make. So.
Yeah, I didn't even know there were prizes involved, so I just wanted to play. Yeah, I remember I almost bailed because I thought it was a top 4 cut.
Yeah, the silver events have a different cut structure. They're a little different in that. So I had to look them up because I was like, wait a minute, how many rounds are we running, and what do I cut here? But I think Neil and I always talked about we would prefer to have a top 8 cut at SBI, regardless of player count, just because I think it's important to give the top 8 players at this event an opportunity to go on and win the whole thing. But I think that worked out well here.
Yeah, and I like again, like the fact that the way the game has sort of shaped up, that it's more of a best of 1 than a best of 3 is. Like I said, my record was not great going in the Swiss, right? Like, but I knew my deck could do better. And if it was a best of 3, for those first Swiss rounds, my record may have been undefeated. I don't know. So I think that, like you said, that extra top 8 and giving people second bites at the apple, takes a little bit of the variance out of it and lets the skill elevate a little bit better.
Sure. Agreed. Yeah. Neil, do you have any questions for Ben while we got him on?
No, Ben, we love having you on, and we love having you as a community member. Like, I'm happy that a lot of our non-Ryan Creech community members decided to be a part of this, and I'm just, the whole day was great. Congratulations on the win, and
and I really appreciate all what you guys do for this, and the weekly podcasts are one of my highlights of the week. Just to hear you guys talking about Solforge is one of my favorite things to do on a Wednesday night. So
awesome.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Thanks. We appreciate that. So, well, we'll let you go and get back to your family and things tonight. I appreciate you spending some time on stream with us, and I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving in case we don't talk to you before then. But congratulations again on winning SBI. Yeah, go check out his channel, folks. There's lots of great coverage on there. Perspective of his whole tournaments there, so you can watch it. He has cut it down for you all, so you don't have to watch all 7 hours of it.
Yeah, I cut out all the downtime.
We're too lazy around here at the Shuffle Bus. You're just gonna have to sort through the 7 hours of live stream coverage we have. But I think it's a great path. You can sit back and watch the eventual SBI champion and how he got there. So, and there are some really great games on there. I did watch a couple of them today. I didn't get all the way through your 2-hour stream. I tried, but didn't make it. Yep.
And I'll just want to, if I can, I just want to plug that we also have the Metasite series going on that as well that you might want to check out if you're curious about so far we've just gone over set 2, but I've done some deep dives with Nate and Sam Nathis and Nate Weekend on just the cards of the first expansion and just sort of kind of our feelings of them and how they've played out for us. So if you're ever wondering about a particular card, you can take a look at some of those streams.
Yeah, I love your meta site, man. So that's a great plug. I appreciate that. So, okay, Ben, thank you so much, man. I hope you have a good rest of your night, and
and happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Yeah, thanks. You too. We'll see you soon.
All right, have a good night.
All right, we'll wait for Neil to come back to Zoom here. So, obviously, we're getting down to the year end. So, welcome back, Neil. One of the things that Shufflebus does for Solforge, since this is our first year in Solforge, we always take the month of December off. So there are exactly 2 Shufflebus streams left for 2023, and we'll take December off and we'll return after the new year for more coverage. But for now, we've got 2 streams left plus another hour with you tonight. And Neil, we kind of don't have a lot to go over. We have a little bit to go over. Kickstarter has wrapped up, so we can talk about that to a little bit of a degree, and just point out it's the results of the Kickstarter.
I didn't see their.
Oh, and it's 17 hours to go. I'm sorry. I thought it was done. My bad. I thought it ended yesterday, and I'm wrong. There's less than a day to go. 17 hours to go. Currently at 970 backers, which is great. They have currently raised $76,091 for the goal of 10,000. So obviously, we're moving forward with set 3 in the last winter, and then also the Solforge Fusion digital app. I think that. If you haven't backed yet, this is your chance to get in and get some cool stuff. I'm not going to talk about the different tiers. Obviously, you can go through all of that, but just know that we're getting closer to the completion of this event, this Kickstarter event, and then we'll be on the long and quiet road to the launch of last winter, which will be probably. I think our estimates are 90 days from the close of this Kickstarter, but obviously we don't have a real date. That's just community interjection and hoping that it'll be no longer than that. So, I guess that's where we kind of sit on it. There have been a lot of great updates here too. So if you get in on those, you can see there's a community built card happening. There's a few other things. So, Neil, do you have any takeaways on the Kickstarter, or I think we covered most of that from a news perspective?
The only thing is they're still running the sealed events, to my knowledge.
Yep.
So if you still want to play in the pre-sealeds, you still have an opportunity to do so.
Yep. They have a trilogy sealed event. Oh, that already happened. So this is, let's see here. That was on November 8th. So moving forward, online or any location. I guess we'll do online.
I thought there was another one of those, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I saw the Trinity sealed and
there is not. You got Sam's got his tournament coming up here on the 18th, which is 3 days from now. You've got 5th cycle event tonight. You've got and the only other events I'm showing right now is 5th cycle events. So there's no other events rolling through the end of the year from anybody other than community members right now. The least that I'm seeing. Now, maybe somebody will tell me you're looking in the wrong spot, or let's do any location just to make sure I'm not lying to you all. There is an Ultimate Championship in Liverpool being held on the 18th, which is Friday. So that's going to be a UCG. There's obviously Open Play of Dreamers. PAX Unplugged has got obviously the Ultimate Championship and Storyline event happening in person. The Ultimate Championship's only got 5 players signed up as of right now, but the Storyline event's got 16 of 32. So they definitely are showing the community is talking, and we saw this at Gen Con too. The story event was much, much larger than the Worlds. We definitely are seeing these story events be sort of the highlight of organized play for Solforge. So I hope that we see Stoneblade kind of lean into that a little bit more in 2024 as well, with some more types of events that people can participate in, like online, etc. There is nothing else happening from a big perspective tournament wise through December. So once PAX happens, we're pretty much done for the year. We lost Neil in this process, so I'm just going to sit here and chat with y'all until he gets back. Internet went out, it looks like. But yeah. So are any of you guys in chat playing in any of these? Playing in the PAX event, going to Liverpool? I mean, I can't imagine anybody's going to Liverpool, but if you are, congratulations. That'll be an amazing trip. Yeah. And obviously then you have the online fifth cycle stuff. So, okay. I think that covers that. Let's go back to news really fast and make sure we didn't miss anything critical here. So the PAX Unplugged event information was released recently, the Solforge Fusion funding, and then that's pretty much been it since then. So nothing new. Ankh said, I can't make it to PAX this year. Yeah, we're in the same boat. Ankh, Shuffle Bus is not making it to PAX.
I tried really hard, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah. I have a very similar issue in that I can't really make it right now either. So, yeah. So, Nathus is going to PAX. That's awesome. I know it's really close to Nathus, right? Like he's an East Coaster in the first place. So,
yeah.
Like, and that makes it easier to make, obviously. Like, Philly's not an easy city for me to get in and out of. It's not terrible. I have to go through Chicago and then to Philly, but, we just didn't see it lining up for me this year. So I'm hoping maybe next year, but obviously I have to weigh out the value of Gen Con versus PAX because Gen Con's quite a bit more expensive to attend, but obviously much bigger con and much bigger things going on. So
PAX is so fun though.
I know PAX is an amazing con.
Yeah.
So wintertime cons, you're almost always guaranteed to come home and get sick. That's the only thing I hate about wintertime cons. It's like everybody, it's summer, like Gen Con, flu season's not really a thing. So you're kind of safer, quote unquote, safer from getting sick, getting the con cred. But that's just kind of how that all sorts out with the wintertime cons in general. But so Neil, we've got 50-ish minutes. I don't know. Do you want to play on the app? Do you want to talk about anything in particular? Like, you tell me where you want this bus to go from here.
We can play a few games. I think showing off the app is good. Well,
let me get it launched up here for everybody.
I played a bunch of the campaign mode last week.
Sure.
I was sad to find out that you can't get past level 20 right now. I leveled my deck up to level 20 or whatever, and then it just stays at level 19 and there's no more available upgrades.
Okay.
Because I was having fun goofing around. Obviously you can get really unfair.
I'm sure, yeah.
The number of just weird stuff that it does.
I'm gonna forge a new deck here.
Oh. Well, I challenged you.
Okay. Well, hold on. Just wait a second.
Did you know front row creatures in a lane with no opposing creature will deal damage to the enemy player in combat? I knew that.
Okay. Wonder how long it takes. We'll just do this one for now. I'll play it with a different one. Finding a worthy opponent.
I will challenge you again.
Okay. I think you're breaking it.
Maybe I am. Well, when you said you're going to forge a deck, I stopped challenging you because I didn't know how long that was going to take. But
yeah, I think you broke it.
Great.
Hold on.
Yeah. Right, I'm gonna. One criticism I will give the app is you have to click a lot of buttons to quit to desktop.
I just Alt F4.
Like way too many buttons.
I just Alt F4, dude.
I want my games to just have a quit button. Is that?
What was the critical piece of gameplay? I missed it.
Oh, that front row creatures that are unblocked deal damage to players in combat. Obviously.
That is important. All right. I'm ready for you to challenge me, sir.
All right. Let's see if this works this time. Did you know creatures in the back row won't attack enemy players, but they will defend themselves if attacked?
I think it's got the wrong Forgeborn, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Yes, it does have the wrong Forgeborn, but that's all right.
Am I first? Why am I first?
I don't know.
I'm going to play this.
Fireheart Idol?
My cards have like a weird like rainbowy animation right now.
Yeah, mine do too.
I haven't seen that before.
Mine are doing the same thing.
Thunder Dad. Epidemic. Okay.
Okay. That guy. I want to play all these cards. Elementalist, okay.
Yep. No Elementalist for no value.
Just make it a 4/5.
4/5 value. 5/6 Shambler of some kind. What is this?
Venerable Shambler.
Venerable Shambler. Pew. All right, get shambled a little bit.
Shamble, shamble, shamble.
Only 2 shambles.
Yep. That's true.
Well then. No value.
Yep. See that.
I played Frosthulk and your play was to botanimate my guy.
Yeah. I mean, I had a really good hand last hand, less of a good hand this hand. So it's just how it goes sometimes.
Um,
Probably played that one
Herpodermic.
too soon, but that's okay.
Herpodermic. Um, what's your next ability? Destroy one of your creatures to play level 1 for free. Okay. Oh, boo.
Yeah, the Nyx is the wrong Forgeborn here, so I'm playing with one hand tied behind my back.
Um, it's an awkward hand.
I don't know what this rainbow effect is. I don't like it though.
It is kind of weird. I agree. I think it's like I wonder if they're like attempting to make foils or something, but like it's like a three-dimensional effect in the plane that's perpendicular to the card. What is this? Oh. Um,
They're testing card trails. Okay.
oh, if you like drag it, you can make it like a trail behind the card. Like if you like drag a card in a circle.
Got it.
Weird. Okay. Um,
What's this thing? Oh, that's nice.
is it it's a 12/3. It also gives a slay give a guy +4 attack. All right. Yep. That seems pretty good. Wisp.
Yep.
Okay. Wisp. Man, we're gonna go to time, and I'm gonna lose because you gained like 80 life.
That's
And I'm sad about it.
what I'm doing. Fireheart Idol. Killing the Dryad. Stitcher. I gave you the minion for it.
You did. But I'm deciding which one of these things I want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think level 1 Thundersword is probably pretty good.
Yeah, it's okay. I feel pretty good about this. Why did I upgrade a card?
I think that's the Ghoulish, right?
Oh, is it that kind of Stitcher? Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. You.
Getting lots of value out of that Nyx there.
Yep.
Okay. What's Evil Lab do?
It gives it's like deal 3, gain 3, and then if I play a scientist in that lane, the scientist gets buffed.
Got it.
Yeah.
Another Fireheart Idol. Your own Stitcher.
Wanderers is a very good card.
It's super good.
Okay. Um I am first.
No, I am.
Oh, I lied. I can't read arrows. Arrows are too hard. Wisp.
What Why does it not let me play this?
It just happened.
I think it broke. I was trying to play an
Oh,
Infernal Ritual. I can't.
uh,
I can't hit done, and I can't select anything now. We just broke it.
it passed to me. Let me see what happens if I play a card because it's telling me I can play a card.
Okay.
Oh wait, it's I currently have the interface for choose lane.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So it just let me play a card. What is it going to do for you now?
I just can play one card.
So your Infernal Ritual didn't work, is what happened.
Right.
I'm trying to.
That's okay.
Where's the?
It's fine.
Hey, I'm trying to read Infernal Ritual. Oh, it's not in your banish pile.
No, it never got played. It went
It's
back
not
to
in
my
your
hand.
discard pile.
It
Oh, so you just like pass turn or something
somehow, yeah.
weird?
Skip turn bug is what Alex said.
Okay, I will make a bug report. I have sent a bug report.
Okay.
So what did you do?
I just played a
Oh, you killed my thing.
yeah with a Vyrix Embrace.
Okay.
How did my Stegodon die? I missed that.
It died to the Broodfang.
Oh, okay.
Man,
Big man.
yeah, he's a big boy. That is factual. Um,
So your creatures are dealing no damage now. Is that what?
no creatures are dealing combat damage this turn. The level one is my creatures don't deal. The level two is no creatures deal. The level three is your creatures don't deal. It's a weird card. Yep. Um, let's see. Yeah, I don't know about these rainbow trails. I,
I don't either.
we both have dark summoning. Okay. Is the thing broke?
Oh, it's my turn. Sorry. But
Oh, I thought maybe it broke
no,
since.
it's me. I'm just being a dumb.
Okay, just being slow. Okay, Beric's embrace. All right. Um, woof. Maybe not. Hmm. Guess I have Root Fang activation now. Okay, this is actually pretty good. Uh,
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty good.
I like that card a lot. I think Root Fang is one of the better like kill your own guy payoffs, even though he's small. Eh, I am first, huh?
You are.
Not a very strong opener.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get the old 5 for 1 or 4 for 1.
Yeah, I was a little worried about that. Let's see. Leyline Vermine. Um,
I mean, I've got time walked in one of these this game already once. Like literal time walked, didn't get to play a card.
right. Brute. Yep. Nappy time.
Yep. Go for the nap time.
Um,
That's a big shambler.
he's big-ish. Pew pew pew.
Got that Frosthulk payoff.
I lost anyway. Like
I know.
exactly what happened is what I said.
Yeah.
Because you gained, I don't know, 9 million life.
Want to play again?
Yeah, we probably got time for another game.
Let me. Let me change. Okay. Let me know when you're ready to challenge.
It doesn't show you in the app anymore.
Weird.
I don't know. I'll challenge you and see if it works.
Yep, it worked.
Did you know? Creatures in the back row. Oh, it went away. Did you know? Use strike to deal damage equal to a creature's attack. Man, that loading screen did not allow me to uh, read those words. We loaded so fast.
And we did. Okay.
What is this thing? That thing's large.
Large
Large
Marge.
large and in charge.
Yep. Good old Firestorm.
What the hell? Oh, I see. Okay.
The Flame Shaper triggered, yeah.
Yeah. It my on my screen it went really weird.
Okay. Oh, I just hit done and went to a straight black screen. There it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Guess I should have played this card first.
That would have been better.
I didn't. I have no idea what's in your deck, so.
Okay. Well, it has a Blight Skull Bomb in it. Now you know.
Now I know. All the removal.
Yeah, I'm not exactly getting anywhere. What is this guy?
Amoeba. Camouflage Amoeba.
3/4 stealth. Okay.
Little Frankenbaum.
Yep. Little bomby bomb bomb bomb.
Bomb, 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 bomb.
All right, what am I gonna do now? Three six. Another Infernal Ritual. All right. Did this one break your game too?
No, I'm
No. Okay,
making
that's good.
decisions.
Gave me the extra 3/3. Interesting. Why did this dude get extra defense?
Which dude?
Your your zombie
I
went
used my Oros ability, shapeshift.
right, so it became a. Why is it a 6/8 now after combat?
No idea. That
Did I
would be a
miss
bug.
something? Because it like it was a 6/6,
Yep.
and then it took damage, went to a 6/3, and then it just like gained 5 health somehow.
No idea.
Interesting.
There, reset.
Weird. I mean, I don't think 3/5 is correct either, but
No.
uh
Could be a graphic glitch.
whatever. I cheated you last game, so you can cheat me this game. Weesp.
Still gotta play a card.
Indeed.
Who's this? General's Wrath. What are you doing?
General X Wrath.
What are you doing?
I'm playing a General X Wrath. What are you doing?
Playing a Shambler.
Okay. This is a hell of a Frankenbaum. He made 3 guys.
Yep, he was pretty good. Didn't have very good answers to him. How did you evil lab me?
What do you mean?
Oh, you played the evil lab. I see.
Yeah. Play Evil Lab. It's like a bad Vyrix Embrace or whatever. That dude is an 8/8. Okay. How do I feel about 8/8?
That's a lot of exalts. It is a lot of exalts. Given the big guys,
Just
fine. I was gonna kill him.
why you do this? I just want my Frankenbaum
Because I'm not
value.
letting you get value out of a level 2 Frankenbaum.
But I want to.
Well, I appreciate that you want to. We want lots of things in life, Neil, but we can't have them all.
Jesus, that's a big old boy.
What's this thing do? Nothing, just a
No,
geist.
nothing.
Okay.
It's actual nothing. I'm not.
Literal nothing. um, hmm.
Is this thing? Oh, Gloom Reaper. Okay.
Gonna get in with that harvesting ground.
Little bit of X-Wrath value.
Yep.
Man, I'm so dead.
Are you?
I feel like you're cheating me somehow, but I don't know what it is.
You heard it here first, chat. Wow. I don't even know what to say to you on that.
Right. Um, God, this sucks. All right, unstable stone fist. I choose. Wait. Oh, this thing took a damage from the other unstable stone fish. That's okay. Perfect. Pyre Song.
That helps. That's pretty good.
Nappy time.
Take a nap.
I don't wanna.
Okay. Fine.
I'm tired of your sneaky oozes.
Well, there's no more of them. So.
Haha! Mike, I am the victor. There can be only one. Mindless zombies.
He's winning the zombie battle.
Yep.
Chat.
Play an Oakfather and a Wisp. Um, I choose you, level 163.
Okay.
And you're gonna die. Let's
Is
see.
this an infinite combos wrap deck is being asked? I don't know.
It
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 probably is.
it is. But it's bad though, so don't worry about what it is or isn't.
I don't know if Shambler was the right play versus playing the Stout Stegodon, but
I think I'm gonna die.
yep,
But this is sweet.
that was
So
sweet. Yeah, you died to the
I went
shambles.
to exactly 0
Yeah.
because of the
I didn't have the math worked
uh
out on that one because I didn't know that's what you were gonna do.
well, obviously, like it's hard to play around the like fourth card. Uh
Want to get one more in? We played that in about 10 minutes.
yeah, because my deck was really bad.
uh,
I will play
God just
this
says you should
deck.
try to find one with Nick so you can cheat the fiend back into play.
Well, the actual best version would be level cycle 2 army commander. So that you can just pick up the half of the combo you're missing from discard pile and win in cycle 2. But it's still bad because it only goes off half the time anyway, regardless of what you do, because you have to be on Forge for the fiend to work.
All right, I'm
But
playing a different deck this time.
I've never seen um a purple half that has Zrath and Fiend and Cycle 2 Army Commander.
Hmm.
I know that Nathis owns one that has Cycle 3 Army Commander and those things. Well, that's some bullshit.
What?
What do you think of that, Gizmo? Haha, I tricked you.
Oh, you got me. Good
That was
job,
why I
man.
was mad because I had the Necro vibe and you played first thing Gizmo, so I had to make you use it. You're playing blue, okay.
Oh, you're just cheating over there. I don't know if this works. I think Elementalist has broken the app, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll find out and then we can send a bug report. I've never tried it before. Shardback. What kind of shardback is this? Arrogant. Okay.
The worst kind.
Seemed like it worked okay. What kind of a thing is this?
That's
Oh, windy your own guy. Okay, I
yep,
see.
yep, yep.
Nice. I
Windy
like
Ice
it. Okay.
Crusher into that. Because I'm losing to a turn one, cycle one, Rumble Spark.
Um, turn 2, cycle 1. Where do I want to put it though? Is the question here, I guess. Oh, it okay, it worked. All right. Oh, he's got the combo.
Look out. Gonna light you up. What is that?
Invocust.
Yeah, you're just gonna beat me with an actual Rumble, an actual deck here.
I played 2 very not real decks in the
That's
last
true.
2 games.
I
It
played two. I
also
played 2 games with a
also
deck I never played before, though. So.
also the Rumble didn't work. You were right
Yeah,
just now.
I think it's. They know it's broken. It's like a known bug.
That's going to make it very hard for me to win. Uh, um, so I'm first.
What? Oh. Okay. No, I gotta do this. No, I don't. Ah, well, too late.
Your red half looks pretty good with the Nargath Thunder and the thing, all the things we were talking about at the beginning.
Yep. Force the death touch.
I love Frankenbaum. It's just like one of my favorite cards.
Digitize.
Wow. I think I'm still winning this trade. Is
You
what's
are.
funny.
You are. But I don't have a choice there. Crap.
Yep. Drix. God, just nobody gets anyone with digitize. That's one way to do it, I suppose.
Gotcha says that's not what I saw.
Well, he needs to get his eyes checked.
Trix is not long for this world.
All right, let's see if this thing works this time. Do I want to trade or do I want to? Nope. Rumble's just broken.
Yeah, it's broken. I told you I don't think Rumble works.
I guess I concede. I don't know. Two times in a row, I got.
Hmm.
That's really weird that the Rumble doesn't, because the Rumble worked the first time and then like uh didn't, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
God, I would just be just I would have won the game already. Uh
Probably. You're welcome.
Oh, that's funny. Let's see.
You're not gonna be happy with me, dude.
I'm never happy with you.
I know, but you're really not gonna be happy with me.
Got me good, I guess. Okay.
That's a lot of damage. It's lethal right now. Okay. Not lethal anymore. Does get a 6/6 out of it. You play a rallying tinker.
Well, is it upside down on your screen?
No, it's yeah. I mean, it's upside down to me. It's right side up to you. Should be. Looks that way.
Oh no, mine it's upside down on my screen. Like the 4 and the 5 are on the bottom. You scientist? No, you're a warrior. Okay. Assume I'm still dead, but and I drew just like a garbage hand. Oh god, and you have a earthen fists.
How do you know my deck list?
Earthen fists is the name
Oh,
of
the
your
Korok
Korok
ability.
ability. I just like clicked on the
Yeah, yeah.
the show isn't losing so badly. Stupid Rumble.
I mean, if you read the patch notes, just saying. they, they said Rumble's
That's
broken.
that's for nerds.
Patch notes are for nerds.
Also, I just drew a god awful hand. Okay, back row 15-8. Skip. All right. Um,
Yeah, technically you're winning right now, according to Gajas.
well, I no longer respect his ability to play the game. Like
Sorry,
people,
Gajas. I
people
still
that
respect
make
you, brother.
people that make like obviously incorrect statements about the game should not be giving advice.
Yeah, yeah.
God. All right.
Now that makes things a little interesting, but let's go ahead and do this.
How did that make things interesting? You're the like you also could have just earthen fist your guy to kill my 6/6 and it would have had a similar effect because
Right.
of non-combat damage. Uh but obviously that was also great for you.
Oh,
Uh,
I didn't realize that a battle's considered non-combat damage. That's interesting.
I assume it's non-combat damage. It would be dumb if it wasn't. Let's see. Oh, and you have another guy. All right. So I'm like super, super dead. Let's see. Oh my lord. Yeah.
I did not realize that,
God.
Mike.
Yeah.
That's awesome to know.
Combat damage is just only the damage that is by attacking
Right.
during the combat step.
Makes sense.
You
Oh,
have
I got to
cards
hit
to
done.
play?
Gosh darn it.
Okay.
There needs to be a rope. Just sitting here waiting for you to play, but I forgot to hit the done button.
I think it's really greedy of you not to activate Nargath Commando. I don't have anything to punish you, but if I had a removal spell for Nargath Commando, you'd be very sad right now.
Yeah.
Um,
Aww.
now there was. I assumed you were getting greedy and you wanted to play something next to the Nargath. Uh, so you really should have done it before the other thing. Is this enough to kill me? 17, 23. Yeah, it is. Okay. Wait, I can if I block the Nargath. Oh no.
Yeah, we're just going for the win.
Any 2 creatures kills me, so that's enough. I don't concede. Man, I think I would have won if I got to make my rumble once in a while.
Yeah, probably. Probably. I was in a little bit of trouble to rumble.
I essentially like blanked myself twice to try to do it, and then I just stopped trying after that. Like, so I was just like making subpar plays the rest of the game because most of my deck is based on flipping the thing, obviously.
I do think this red half is pretty decent that I have.
It seems good.
Yes. So that deck, I don't know if I've got it paired with the right deck, but I wanted to start with like Drix Shenanigans on the blue side. That's all I really care about. Plus Warmonger mod's free after round 1, so you kind of take a tempo hit in cycle 1, but then
I would try to find a deck with a Vine Lash in it, but
well, I have the battle on cycle. I have essentially the free battle in cycle 3.
Vine Lash looks incredible in that deck because you have Thundersword and
I have lots of Vine Lashes, that's for sure.
But yeah, the red half looks really good.
And Tinkerer's all. I mean, I don't know. I like Tinkerer a ton.
Tinker is a good card just to have in the deck. That's a card that's never going to be a builder on me,
right?
Because it requires your opponent to do certain things for it to be good. But it's the kind of like silver bullet card that like you want to have that effect a lot of times. So just nice.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of mages because I have a Flame Sculptor seal as well in this deck. So it's nice having if I can find mages on the the thingamajigger side, the green side, then maybe I would go that route. But I don't know what mages really exist on green.
There's a surprising number. It's like Talisan and Reveler.
So I have a Magnivorious Reveler, which seems pretty cool.
The thing that like when you replace it, it reanimates itself at level 3. I don't remember what that card's called, but that's a mage.
Vine Lash is 2 words, that's why.
And Druid is a mage. So there's honestly quite a few. I was surprised when I was looking at the list. But
so let's see. Like probably like a biologist would be pretty decent. Grove Mother. Like I have a Forge Seal, Grove Mother, Spring Dryad, Transcendent Biologist, Vine Lash, with a Camouflage Basher, Dendrify, which isn't bad to make an 8/8 Oak Father out of something. This deck might not be bad with it. What's this deck called? Like the red half called? How do I find that out?
I have no idea. You should figure it out before next week.
Yeah, I will.
When you're crushing Godges with your digitizes, then he won't have a smart mouth about it.
I did play 2 digitizes to value this game. That's kind of funny.
You only got value. because I made plays in those turns to try to flip Rumble.
I know.
Maybe that's the tech. Maybe Digitize's secret like missing
Anti-rumble
wording
tech.
is like your opponents can't flip exalts
Yeah.
this turn.
It's possible. Well, Neil, we made it to the end of the night. I had fun playing a couple of games with you. We'll play some more when you get back in a couple of weeks.
Even like not working all the way, the app is a very slick interface.
Yep. Yeah, it goes really fast, obviously, which is great. So next week I'll be on Wednesday night. We'll just do community challenges, play community members. And if I don't find community members to play with, then I will just do campaign or something. So we'll see you all next Wednesday. Neil, I hope you have a fantastic Thanksgiving since we won't see you live next week. And then, yeah, can't believe it's Thanksgiving already. Crazy.
I know, right?
All right, guys. Thank you so much for your time tonight. We appreciate you all, everybody that came in and chatted and spent time with us. Thanks to Ankh for joining us on stream tonight to talk about his SBI winning deck. And more content coming next Wednesday. We'll see you soon. Take care. Thanks.